Hello everyone, back to you into today's video. We're going to have a look at the weather for next week to 10 days for today's video, which takes to around the 10th of August. So we're going into the final month of the summer now very rapidly. So it's been a hot summer so far, very dry as well. Things have temporarily turned cooler and a little bit more unsettled. That's happened over the weekend. But the heat's going to start building up again through the second half of this coming week. And so the coming weekend is actually looking really quite hot. Now, much of Spain, Portugal and France are going to be engulfed by potentially a record-breaking heat wave this weekend and into next week. Got to see how far north we get that very hot air. Will it get to UK? It may not do, but we do need to keep a close eye on it. And I'll talk you through all of the latest updates in a moment. We'll also have a look at the CFS beta as well, so an action-packed video. But before you get on with all of that, just going to say a big thank you to Heatwave's latest donor. So Hugh Marshall has become the latest donor for Heatwave vids. So big thank you to Hugh for your donation, and a big thank you to all of the donors and patrons for Heatwave vids as well that we've had over the past couple of months. So this is Heatwave's PayPal page, paypal.me. If you would like to give us a one-off donation, then all you need to do is come to the Heatwave's PayPal page. We link to this on all pages at Heatwave's and also in the description box at YouTube. So you just come in, give us a one-off donation via your PayPal account, and that's all you need to do. It's as simple as that. And a big thank you to all of the donors for Heatwave for doing that. But you can also become a patron for Heatwave, and this is Heatwave's Patreon account. We've got 25 patrons so far. This is how you give an ongoing monthly donation. It can be anything as little as $1 a month, and by doing that you become a patron for Heatwave. So either way you do it, you'll get a mention in the videos, you'll get a shout out and a thank you, as Hugh has done today. And unless you would rather not receive a mention, some people have wanted to stay anonymous, that's absolutely fine, but otherwise you will get a mention in the videos. And a big thank you to all of the donors and all of the patrons for Heatwave. It's helping us to pay for our website. We are primarily ads funded, and we will be remaining ads funded as well. So there's not going to be any paywalls, anything like that turning up. All of the content will remain completely free as you want it and need it. It's just helping to give us another funding revenue stream, if you like. So a big thank you to all of the donors and all of the patrons for Heatwave for your very kind donations and becoming patrons of Heatwave. Right, so we'll begin the video by having a look at the Central England temperature. This is the very latest from Hadley. So this is the year's worth of CTs filling up now. Of course, let's come down to the latest month, to July 2018, and we're currently standing provisionally at 19.4, an anomaly of 3.4 degrees above average. That's provisional to yesterday, the 29th of July. So obviously very, very hot July so far. Just again talk you through what we need to do to get the hottest July and the hottest month on record. So this is the Central England temperature going all the way back to 1659, every month's worth of CT data going back to 1659 that we have now incorporated into Heatwave. It was a mammoth task to get each and every one of these individual months worth of CT numbers to Heatwave, but after many hours slaving away, I've got that done. So let's scroll down through the decades and the centuries, coming down into the 20th century and then down to the 21st century, and we arrive at the year we're currently at, 2018. So that's June CT for 2018 there, 16.1. July's will be placed just here. So what do we need to do to get the hottest July and the hottest month on record? The hottest July and the hottest month on record was back in 2006, just there. It was July 2006 at 19.7. So we are provisionally only sort of 0.3 of a degree underneath the all-time hottest July and hottest month on record. To equal, therefore, the hottest month and hottest July on record, we need to get 90.7. To beat it, we need to get to 19.8. Now, we're not going to do that, so 2006 will remain the hottest July and the hottest month on record. There's only a few other times, a couple of other times, that we've got into the 19s with the CT. So let's go back into the 1990s, and we come to 1995, just there. So August 1995 came out at 19.2. So at the moment we're a little bit above that. We may beat August 1995, and then the only other time we've been in the 19s for a CT month is back in 1983. So July 1983 comes out at 19.5. Again, we're not going to beat that because we're already under that. We're already underneath July 1983 and July 2006. So we can't beat those 2 months because it's not going to get any warmer over the final couple of days of this month, and there'll probably be a downwards correction as well. So those two are safe. 1983 as the second hottest month and hottest July on record, that's safe. And then the hottest month and hottest July on record in 2006, that is also safe. We can't beat them. So what we're going to focus on is whether we can beat August 1995. I think it's going to be very hard to do it, really. Again, a reminder of BCT from August 1995, 19.2. So we're 0.2 of a degree above that at the moment. However, we may well get a very slight tick down in the last couple of days, so we'll probably go down to 19.3 provisionally. And then there's usually a downwards correction as well. So I suspect what's going to finish up happening is that will come in somewhere around 19.0 or 19.1. We should just about hang on to a 19 Celsius CET month, which is very rare, as we've already explained. There's only been 3 other such months that have been in the 19s with the CET. Not impossible that this will come out under 90 degrees, somewhere say around 18.8 or 18.9, if we was to get a big downwards correction. But I'm not sure the downwards correction will be that big, so I suspect we'll just about hold on in the 19s, but I think it'll finish up probably the 4th hottest month on record underneath both July 2006 and 1983, and probably also underneath August 1995 as well. It'll be interesting to see how those stats finish up, but obviously it has been a very, very hot July anyway, even if it doesn't break the all-time CT record, which it won't, from 2006. Right, so these are the 500 millibar height anomaly flowcharts from Penn State University. We've got the ECMWF here on the top, and the GFS, which have a look at in a moment, is on the bottom. 500 millibars, 8,000 feet, is an area in the atmosphere where high pressure, low pressure are being moved around by the jet stream running above. Red and orange extrapolates to high pressure, blue to low pressure. So in this 7 to 10 day time frame, the ECMWF is placing a ridge of above average height, which is high pressure, very close to the UK. We've got a trough moving in over Scandinavia though, so that is a little bit of a change, pulling down some cooler air into Scandinavia, where it has been a very, very hot summer. Indeed, it looks like things will be turning cooler and more unsettled into Scandinavia. We remain close to this ridge of high pressure, although the air coming around is probably coming from a west to northwest direction. So in the 7 to 10 day time frame, it shouldn't be too hot, and that probably keeps that record-breaking heat from, or potentially record-breaking heat from Spain, Portugal and France just about at bay. This is how the GFS is looking. This is also a little bit different compared to what we've had through the summer, really. We've got above average heights across much of central, southwestern central Europe. So that's the hot ridge, going to be bringing very hot temperatures through to Spain and Portugal and France. But we're under just a little bit of low pressure, actually, or lower pressure, I suppose you would say, and a very weak return of the jet stream as well. So it's a little bit complicated in terms of the 500 millibar height anomalies, but they don't look severely hot in the 7 to 10-day time frame. However, we are going to see the temperatures warming up through the second half of this week, and it is still to be determined how hot it's going to get. These are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. So red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average. We're at Derby today. So these are the temperatures, upper air temperatures for the next couple of days, and overall they're quite cool. So you can see why I've ruled out any chance of us beating July 2006 CT. That can't happen because the temperatures at the moment they're close to average. It is a little bit humid, but actually the next couple of days not going to be all that spectacular with the temperatures. Probably low to mid 20s Celsius, something like that, which won't be enough to get us to or over the CT that we recorded in July 2006. So that record, that hottest month on record, hottest July on record, that is safe. That can't be beaten. However, at the end of the week, and by then, of course, we're into August, we find that the temperatures are starting to go warmer than average yet again. And for a day or two, around sort of the 6th, 7th of August just here, we have got a little bit of a heat spike showing up. Some of these ensemble members are getting very hot indeed, just temporarily, just for about around a day, around the 6th of August. They are going, some of these ensemble members are going quite close to 20 degrees at 850 HPA, and that's kind of like the level of upper air temperature that will get you very close to 100 Fahrenheit. So we may pull up some extreme heat just for a day around the 6th of August, but more likely is that we will keep the temperature around 15 degrees Celsius at 850 HPA. That's where the ensemble mean is, and that's going to be enough to get temperatures sort of low to mid 30s again. That's where we was at the back end of last week. So even if we don't get that really quite extreme temperature going up to 20 degrees at 850 HPA, which we can't rule out at this point, can't rule that out, but even if we don't get it, we are going to get a few days of very warm and hot weather again over the weekend into the start of next week. However, it is temporary, and it looks like as we go through into the second week of August, this period just here, we are seeing signs of the temperature rapidly cooling back to where we are right now. So a brief spike in temperature, heat spike, and then probably quite a quick drop back towards average. Precipitation wise, lots of dry weather coming up through the rest of this week and into the weekend, possibly a little bit more unsettled through the course of next week. Surface temperatures for Derby are looking like that. So it is cooler now, but he's had to cut temperatures a little bit, so this is suggesting around 20 degrees. It'll be a bit warmer than that over the next couple of days. But the real push-up in temperature comes at the end of the week and into next weekend. So we've got several ensemble members here going to 30 degrees, again, in terms of the surface temperatures. This is undercooking the temperatures, so you can probably add 2 or 3 degrees onto that. So 33, 34 Celsius is certainly possible through the end of this coming weekend and into the start of next week. Doesn't last long though, and we could drop in the temperature back through the course of next week as things turn cooler after that heat spike. Temperature anomalies from the 30th of July to the 7th of August are hotter than average yet again. It's another very warm or hot week, not just for the UK, but for most parts of Europe as well. Yet another week of very high temperatures in this long, hot summer. Precipitation anomalies look like that from the 30th of July to the 7th of August. Drier than average pretty much through all parts of the country, particularly focus on England and Wales. So another hot and dry week really coming up for many parts of Europe. Here's how the GFS is looking for Thursday then. We've got high pressure reaching from the Azores going into Europe and up towards Scandinavia. This will be starting to bring the heat back up from the south once again through to the weekend. High pressure is well and truly in control, almost over top of the UK. So you can see why it's going to be a very dry week coming up with barely any precipitation, because that high pressure is back in control. It's back over top of the country. Will be very warm over the weekend, if not hot, with this high pressure sitting almost over top of the UK. There's the upper air temperatures for Sunday. They do look very warm and you would say hot for the south. And just here we can see where the 20 Celsius isotherm is through the Bay of Biscay and into sort of central southern parts of France, with the 25 Celsius isotherm coming out of Spain and Portugal into the southern part of the Bay of Biscay. We could have new temperature records being set for Spain and Portugal this weekend. That's how Monday is looking next week. The high pressure is still there, but just drifting a little bit more towards the east, allowing some really quite hot air to start moving up out of France. However, because that heat is running over the Bay of Biscay, and of course the Bay of Biscay is a relatively cool sea, even though the temperature normally is warmer than average, it is a relatively cool sea. So as that hot air runs over the Bay of Biscay, it's developing an area of low pressure, and so that's all starting to look rather thundery. That's how things look by Tuesday the 7th of August. That thundery low has moved out of Biscay and it's heading up into southern parts of the UK. So that's a classic Spanish plume type situation. There's the upper air temperatures for Tuesday, 7th of August. You see the 15 Celsius isotherm is there across England and Wales, so that's very hot air. And the hottest of the air, the 20 Celsius isotherm, is across northern France, just kind of threatening the channel and possibly threatening to clip into the very far southeastern part of the country. It's very quickly pushed away though. This is Wednesday the 8th of August, and we see that the low pressure thundery low is clearing off to the east, allowing the winds to turn back into the west. So it is kind of like a heat spike as opposed to anything too prolonged, and it very quickly gets pushed away. There's the upper air temperatures by the second half of next week, day 10, which is Thursday 9th of August. We are back into a relatively cool upper air temperature once again. But not, again, breaking down the high pressure. Here comes the high pressure in the extended range. This is kind of like Saturday the 11th of August, but ridge is building back up from the Azores again, as it has done so often during this long hot summer. So more very warm conditions to come through the second week of August, and that's how we finish up with this GFS run by Tuesday the 14th of August. Actually looking just a little bit more unsettled then. East MDF looking like that. So again, we've got the ridge building through the country through the end of the week, bringing back a return of dry, sunny and probably really quite hot weather too. That lasts into the early part of next week. That's where the high pressure is being centred just to the northwest of Scotland by the start of next week, with low pressure, that thundery low triggered by that extreme heat across Spain and Portugal. That thundery low is across the Bay of Biscay at that point. There's the upper air temperature, so this is the 20 Celsius isotherm again, heading up through Biscay into northern France and then into central parts of France as well. Not as hot with the upper air temperatures as the GFS, and that thundery low with the hottest of the air never really gets to us with this ECM run. The hottest of the air stays on the other side of the channel, and we just remain under this ridge up to day 10, which will keep it very warm. It would be very warm, temperatures into upper 20s, low 30s, but nothing as extreme as what the GFS is hinting could happen. And then finally the GEM looks like that. So again, we've got the ridge building and developing at the end of the week and into the weekend. That's how things are looking on sunny. High pressure more or less still in control, but there's that thundery low across Biscay and France being triggered by that very extreme heat. There's the upper air temperatures showing that again. The 20 Celsius isotherm is there across France. 25 Celsius isotherm is actually getting into the south of France, which is very, very unusual and would see records tumbling for southern parts of France, I'm quite sure. By Monday, this time next week, that thundery low is getting into the south of the UK. There's the upper air temperature, so that 20 Celsius isotherm with the GEM is perilously close to the UK by the start of next week. It's kind of like through the channel, threatening the very far southeast of countries. It is most of England and Wales covered by the 15 Celsius isotherm. So the 15 Celsius isotherm again would take temperatures to low to mid 30s. The 20 Celsius isotherm would take temperatures probably to the upper 30s Celsius. Upper 30 Celsius is around 100 Fahrenheit, so 37 point something is exactly 100 Fahrenheit. So it is threatening very extreme heat that to the far southeastern part of the country by this time next week. Eventually that thundery low moves out of the way. We turn the wind back into the northwest, so it would turn cooler as that extensive extreme heat gets moved into Central Europe. But still under high pressure conditions, still a lot of dry and warm weather continuing through to day 10. Finally, we'll just have a look at the CFS V2 for the next month. So these are the 500 millibar heights. They're broken down into weekly periods. The first week period takes us from the 30th of July to the 5th of August. The coming week has above average heights over and to the east of the UK, below average heights in the Atlantic. The flow and the jet is doing something like that. So we're bringing up hot winds again from southern parts of Europe. Week 2, just had a little preview of it, is the 6th to the 12th of August, and we have the above average heights again, centre very close to the UK. The jet stream with the cooler air and the low pressure is still penned in around Greenland and Iceland, where it has been a very cool summer up to now. But for us, we remain close to that ridge, so again, lots of dry, warm, possibly hot weather continuing. Then we're through to the 13th to the 19th of August, with again above average heights, very close to the country. So the long, hot summer of 2018 goes on into second half of August with CFS V2. And then finally we finish up on the 20th to the 26th of August. Just hints that we're pulling the high pressure back into the middle of the Atlantic then, and possibly starting to bring the jet stream a bit further southwards as well. So maybe taking a little bit cooler and a little bit more unsettled there for the very end of August. Temperature anomalies in the week ahead are hotter than average, substantially so through most parts of the UK and most parts of Europe as well. And then we go through to week 2. Temperature anomalies the 6th to the 12th of August comes out as another hotter than average week, not just for the UK, but for much of Europe too. Week 3 temperature anomalies, which is the 13th to the 19th of August. They're hotter than average also. Week 4 rounds it all off. This is the 20th, 26th of August, coming out hotter than average. A very hot August to come, if that is right. Precipitation anomalies finally. So a lot of dry weather actually in the weekend. A little bit wetter far northwest of Scotland, but most places are coming out dry. Week 2 precipitation anomalies are close to average, but again probably hinting at being a bit on the drier side if anything, and that continues into week 3 as well. And then finally week 4, rounding everything off, we come out again average to possibly hinting at still being a little bit drier than average close to the UK. I think the CFS is hinting at a hot and dry August, which of course will finish up a very hot and dry summer. And in fact, if CFS came off, I think we'd probably be threatening 1976 in terms of getting the hottest summer on record if that CFS run is correct. That's all very speculative. Coming back to a more immediate time frame, so it's a bit cooler now. It will remain so for the next day or so, although through this week temperatures will be continuing to lift up. We get to the weekend, it's going to be turning hot over the weekend again. And then early next week, how hot does it get? Is it just standard UK hot weather, which is kind of like low to mid 30s Celsius, or is it something more extreme? And there is the possibility for just very temporarily, Monday, Tuesday next week, in around a week's time, there's just a possibility we might get exceptionally hot air moving up from France, maybe even record-breaking heat going into the above 100 Fahrenheit. So it's a low risk, but we do need to keep a very close eye on it, because this is a very extreme heat wave that is going to be developing across Spain, Portugal and France this coming weekend and into the early part of next week. Right, so a lot to keep an eye on, and we'll be keeping you updated through the week. Today's second video coming up this evening, though, we'll have a look at some events and festivals that will be taking place this weekend. But that's all for now, and thanks for watching.